I'm Jerry Dameron from Boulder Electric Vehicle, and we're manufacturing a commercial electric truck and van, and we're going to be manufacturing here in LA. What kind of differentials in off-peak and on-peak pricing will you have for consumer commuter cars, and will there be a rate differential for commercial fleet managers who want to go to electric vehicles?
Okay, well, I'll start. Our rate is the same, I think, for the residential and commercial side for our EV discount. Oh. Okay. Our rate discount is 2.5 cents for base charging or off-peak charging. The way that it applies for customers is either you have a whole house TOU, time of use, or you have a separate service to your EV that's on a time of use. So the 2.5 cents takes you down to about 8.5 at the low peak rate, and the on-peak rate is about 22 cents for us.
We have separate commercial rates, and the best way to check that would be to contact the call center. We have a special commercial call center, and they can provide you that information. But I don't know if we have a special commercial EV rate, but we do have special commercial rates that apply.
I know the county has 88 cities within the county. How large is your territory, Bob?
In terms of, there's 14.5 million customers, 180 cities, pretty good size.
And quickly, what are the next steps for SoCal EV?
The next steps are to make sure that we link to all of our partners on the website, get the information out to you all about funding opportunities, and we really want to build a strong team for the next round of CEC funding.
For our website, and all of you will have access to it, the lessons we're learning as we travel around to various cities, we're putting onto the document, onto the website, a community tab. On that community tab, we'll have a list of best practices. It will also have a list of issues in forms of questions and answers. So we've identified, roughly 30 issues that we're answering. So the goal is to have a ready access point for you to go to that website and look at the issues and look at the questions. An example of a best practice, just to give you an idea, is one of the utilities uses like a iPod for their inspectors. So when they go out for the inspection, when the inspector's completed that inspection, he immediately signs it. That goes back to the city hall as well as back to the utility, which means that we get notified immediately. In some cases, we could turn the power back on that same day versus waiting to go back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and email us the information. It's kind of like a Federal Express type approach where you sign for a package and they know in Memphis that you got the package at that same time. So we're recommending that's an example of something cities can adopt as a best practice.
We also are looking at future opportunities to collaborate. So this was kind of an EV series, readiness series, EV 101, our first workshop, and we're looking to do smaller groups that are more focused on specific issues. We've internally with our planning group have already talked about doing something specifically for building inspectors so that everyone's on the same page. So anything else that people see as a major concern or area that you'd like to see addressed, we'd love to hear that idea.
Yes, this has to do with fast charging, DC fast charging. Foothill Transit out in the Pomona area has 3 buses running now, pure electric with a 30-mile range, 73 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and they're running them constantly using a quick charge, a fast charge unit that is 480 volts, I believe either 800 or 1,000 amps. This is serious power, and they're getting killed on demand charges. Yeah, so I think they're coming before the PUC to try to get some change. But this also will come into play with the DC quick charge that the Leaf is going to use. And so are we going to get some sort of a differential rate specifically related to the demand charges? I don't mind paying for kilowatt hours, I understand that, but demand charges are going to really significantly drive the price of that electricity up. And in order to be competitive with gasoline, we have to be careful about that. So.
I think that's a good question, and I don't think I have an answer for that. But we will note that, and I think as part of the PUC process, they are evaluating the DC fast charges and what the impact on the system. We certainly are trying to look aggressively at DC fast charging and understand the benefits, because if you have a few DC fast chargers, you may need less level 2 chargers. And we're trying to understand that. None of us have that information yet, but I think it's something that I will take back to the office and ask that question and see if we can get you an answer.
On our side, it is something that the demand charges have come up in conversations with our rate manager, so it's something that we're looking at. Even for smaller installations of level 2, if you've got a small operation, it could be a significant impact to your bill. So we are looking at that.
Go ahead.
Sventi's in Better Place. One of the big problems at multifamily dwellings is the number of meters and the location of meters, and how do you figure out who bills for what electricity? So what is your thoughts on sub-metering or embedded metering within the EVSE? And that would actually mean that would be owned by a non-utility entity, be it the homeowner or the property owner, and then doing some sort of subtractive billing out of that.
Currently, we have a technical team that's actually in direct communication with most, if not all, of the EVSE suppliers. Almost all the EVSE suppliers are developing the second the metering capabilities as part of their system. At the moment, those metering systems are not what we would call revenue grade. That doesn't mean they couldn't be, but at the moment, there's a requirement by us to go through very detailed analysis and studies and testing on our meters. There's a discussion how we can communicate with the meter on the EVSE. There's a question as to how we can communicate with that meter actually with our back office system. So there is a team of people looking at that. The Freedom Card program, which is a DOE-sponsored program that SCE is part of, they're actually looking at developing a chip that could actually go in the EVSE, similar to what you're talking about, that would be potentially be owned by the utility and therefore meet that revenue grade requirement and be able to use that for communication. It has not been solved yet. There isn't any reason why that technology might work, where you could use the second meter versus the meter in the EVSE versus the second meter. There's potential cost savings there. So we have a team of people looking at it very seriously, including which involves our Itron Smart Connect meter team, as well as our EV team, and there's a technical team communicating with the EVSEs to try to solve that problem, or figure out how the problem can work, or the solution work, I should say.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I think a lot of the utilities are, in terms of we're still dealing with a lot of challenges to fix the back end so that we can do that subtractive billing. So that's a challenge. Making sure that the meter is revenue grade has been our concern as well. But it's something that we look to because I think it's a good solution for the customer not to have a separate meter at their home.
Bob, can you speak about the regional plan that you're working with SCAG on?
Okay. As part of this whole collaborative effort, the goal is to have infrastructure spread across the entire region, the entire 6-county region. We don't believe vehicles, while the majority of vehicles may initially be clustered along the coastlines, there will be vehicles purchased all over the entire region. In order to support all those vehicles, we believe strongly that the existing infrastructure should be upgraded to meet current J1772 standards. So then the question becomes, what should the infrastructure investment look like from 2014 through 2020? And how do you use the transportation data that's been developed in the past, the fuel cell, the hydrogen infrastructure data that was developed by the California Energy Commission and the California Fuel Cell Partnership, as well as transportation developed by MTA, the Transit Authority, and ask the question, how can you roll all that into a regional study? So we approached SCAG as a team, the collaborative team, and talked to SCAG that agreed, as I mentioned earlier, Diane Gould is here, agreed to develop a regional study that will take advantage of all the information that's been developed before, that will look carefully at travel destinations, look carefully at commuting miles, look at the DC fast charging issues, look at the level 2 charging issues, the time of charging, and try to figure out what this region's infrastructure should look like. So at the moment, it includes AQMD, it includes DWP, it includes LA County, it includes the City of Los Angeles, it includes LA MTA, it includes all of the communities through their Council of Governments. So it's intended to be a very collaborative project. The plan is to work with the California Energy Commission as part of the AB 118 funding program to develop and do this regional study, and we will be reaching out to all of you, especially cities, as we ask for you to identify key travel destinations so we make sure that that information is not missed. It's a very challenging study. If anybody can tell me how many plug-in hybrid vehicles there will be in the marketplace versus battery electric vehicles, that would help. If anybody can tell me how long range anxiety will really last, that would help. So there's a lot of assumptions we're going to have to deal with to try to calculate, but the key is we've got as many of us as possible together to try to make a collaborative study.
Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for Adrene and Bob?